Hello, everybody. When you see these pictures, you think, remember those good old days? A Muslim American group throwing an event together, a dinner. They invite their Jewish friends, their Christian brothers and sisters, and they break bread and talk about not what rips them apart a world away, but instead what binds them together with a common humanity here at home. The good old days. I'll tell you about those pictures in just a second. But first, here on Let It Rip, 180 days. The war against Hamas has left 32,000 people dead. It's also left 134 families of Israeli hostages brutally ripped from their homes, waiting for word. Are they okay? Are they even alive? This war has exposed a lot of hate here at home. The Anti-Defamation League and the Council on American Islamic Relations both say hate speech and crimes are up more than 300% against both groups. 300%. But hope lives on here in Metro Detroit. Back to the pictures. The good old days? You see, although these days are anything but good, those images you saw of Jews and Muslims together at a peace dinner are from Redford, Michigan on March 27th, last week. You see, hope lives, even thrives here at home. One thing everyone agrees on, hate against Jews, hate against Arab Americans, hate against anyone. Well, that's wrong. Tonight, stopping that hate takes center stage on Let It Rip. All right, joining us tonight to talk about this really important topic, Dr. Mahmoud Al-Hadidi, founder and chairman of World Peace Outreach, and Rabbi Asher Lopatin, who's the community relations director for the Jewish Federation of Greater Ann Arbor. Fox 2 anchor and attorney Charlie Langton with us as always. And with that, let's have this discussion that can be a tough one because of 6,000 miles away, what's happening is affecting so many of us here at home. 200,000 Arab Americans in Michigan, so many of them affected by this, so many Jewish families hurt by this as well. Today, President Biden had a conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, and we don't know everything that happened in that call, but I want to ask you, Dr. Al-Hadidi, what do you hope was said on that call? What's your dream call for these two leaders?
I wish that President Biden tell Bibi Netanyahu that United States will always be the backbone of international law, will be the protector of human rights, and enough is enough. We have to end this war. We have to end the killing, and the aid has to be delivered to those starving people in Gaza, and a way out of this war has to be found immediately, and not to escalate and not to find another reason and pick another fight like hitting the consulate of Iran in Damascus. I'm not a fan of Iran, but that was wrong. That's bad. Netanyahu should not pick another fight to extend this war, and he should aim to end it.
Rabbi, are you afraid that Benjamin Netanyahu is looking for more reasons to extend this war?
Well, you know, Netanyahu has always been a very cautious leader, so I actually have to disagree. Iran has been a terrorist state ever since 1979, taking our American hostages, and I don't regard them as they shouldn't be safe anywhere, really. So Iran, we would disagree. Where I do agree is that I think President Biden has to emphasize to Netanyahu and to Israel, because this war is not Netanyahu's war. It's really Israelis are supporting this war against Hamas. But America, and I think Biden, as he said in the beginning, has to show that while he supports Israel in its war against Hamas, and he's a supporter of Israel, Israel has to provide the humanitarian aid that is critical and has to show sympathy for the death of Palestinians. And it's not easy for Israel to do it because the hostages are still in dungeons underground and Israel is still hurting and in trauma. But that's what Biden can say. I'm your ally. I'm with you. And you have to care about and show that you care about the humanitarian side of this war.
And we're doing all of this in the middle of a political cycle where we're just months away from a huge election. Charlie, how much influence does that have on what this president says on any given day?
I think a lot. I think this is a big, crucial factor for Biden's reelection and perhaps for Trump. But certainly Biden is the leader. He is the leader right now. I agree with the rabbi. I really think that Israel's got to come up and say, listen, how much more killing do we need to accomplish here? I mean, the war should be done. We've got to go back, and we got to humanitarian aid has got to come through Gaza.
Thank you.
And it must right now. It's got to.
Thank you.
Biden's got to lead the charge. And I think the war's got to stop.
After people in the tunnel,
and
under the ground.
The UN's tried to
does not justify killing everybody above the ground. going after people, let's say submit that he's going after those people in the tunnel underground, does not justify killing 1.5 million people above ground. And then every time there's a light at the end of the tunnel, the relief was allowed. The U.S. said we're going to have the relief. Then Netanyahu and the IDF killed 7 relief workers the same day to deter people from going there, whether intentional or not, Rabbi. I'm okay with you that saying this was an accident. We cannot afford more accidents like that.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't agree that the war needs to end with Hamas's defeat, and that's critical. And from the sources that I hear, actually most of Hamas has been defeated, and the war is entering a lighter phase. But I do agree that humanitarian aid has to be in it. And the truth is, if you think about it, if Israel sends in convoys to protect the humanitarian convoys, Israel sends in soldiers, which I think it should, but if those soldiers are killed, those Israeli soldiers are killed in protecting the convoys for Palestinian civilians, it's not going to look good for Netanyahu. But that's what Biden has to push.
Rabbi, this sounds like a riddle that does not have any funny meaning and no good ending here. You're saying right now that you think that this will end when Hamas is finally defeated.
Right.
Is that an attainable goal? And at what cost of human lives
and what's the definition? What's the definition of that?
Right. Well, so the discussions, there are 20 battalions of Hamas that have been defeated, 10,000 soldiers of Hamas. There are 4 that are left there in Rafah. And so this war is slowing down. And even if you look at the figures, which are Hamas figures, so you really can't rely on them, but it is tragic that Hamas is using civilians as human shields. And it's tragic that these aid workers are killed. I think what President Biden can do, and this also is political, he has to show that he's strong and a strong supporter of Israel, and also that he cares about Palestine.
Is it political, just for a moment, is it political to say that 32,000 lives that have been lost have been all used as human shields?
Too much.
Or is it safe to say that only some of those were human shields?
Either they were Hamas fighters, or they're unfortunately
32,000.
There are videos shown over and over of unarmed civilians walking, people crawling, and a drone hit them, cutting them into pieces. This has been shown over and over. These are not human shields. They're walking on the beach, on a road that was declared to be safe, and they're hunted like animals. This is not right. This is not human shield. I could see if the Hamas is hiding in a building. These people were killed on the beach. They were killed on the street that was declared as a safe passage.
But is there an end game to this war? Well, where is the end game? Where is it when Israel says, okay, that's enough, we win, or not? And I don't see it here.
It is,
I think President Biden has got to
saying the defeat of Hamas.
But then there has to be rebuilding of Gaza. There has to be concern for the Palestinian civilians, and Israel needs to show that, as difficult as it is. So that's the end game, meaning afterwards, the day after.
Israel needs a better PR person, I think.
We only have about 2 minutes left, and I want to ask you about the reason that the two of you decided to come here today. Just on March 27th, there was a dinner that was held in which a Muslim group held this entire group, and Dr. Al-Didi led this, and brought Hindus, Christians, and Jews together under one roof. What lessons can Detroit teach the world about how to treat one another, even when we disagree? Dr. Al-Didi.
We're human. We're American citizens. We're neighbors. We're brothers and sisters in humanity. Boycott is not the way. We have to reach out to each other. Boycotting your friend is bad. Boycotting your enemy is even worse, because you lose the chance of making him a friend. In Islam, in Ramadan, idfa billati hiya ahsan means treat people better than they treat you. So maybe they become your friends. By boycotting, you lose that chance. You lose a chance of communication. You lose a chance of ending the hatred. Boycott is bad. And radicalization is worse. We see a lot of radicalization in the Muslim community and in the Jewish community. It's not all hunky-dory at your end. Because when those soldiers are killing 32,000 people in 6 months, that's like a killing machine. Allow me, please. So there is radicalization there. When you see soldiers, beautiful, allow me to say that, beautiful young Israeli soldiers, but they're making fun of women's lingeries, underwears. They take video while they blowing up Palestinians' homes, that they're making fun of it, parading Palestinians naked. This is radicalization. Those people were not born like that. They were taught how to torture, how to hate. And same thing goes with the Palestinians. We have to eliminate hate. We have to learn how to live together, look for tomorrow, and how to get the best out of each other.
And Rabbi, did that happen at that dinner in Redford? And do you think that that is unique? Because you don't hear about that happening in other cities across America.
Dr. Al-Hadidi is a special man. You see how we disagree, and yet I look up to him as a mentor, as a teacher, as a dear friend. So there aren't that many, but there are others. And when there's a Dr. Al-Hadidi and his wife, who's incredible, there is hope. We can disagree, and we can stay here all night disagreeing, but the bottom line is that we come together in peace, and I share his values of humanity, and it was a beautiful, inspiring Ramadan iftar dinner.
Well, a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, and a Hindu sit here in Detroit tonight to deliver the news that perhaps things aren't as bleak, at least when it comes to being able to sit together, break bread, and understand the other's perspective, even when we don't disagree.
And the feeling is
and I bet we all agree on many more things than we disagree.
That's very true. Good point, Charlie. Dr. Al-Hadidi, I want to say thank you for joining us. I wish we had more time, and we invite you to come back so we can share more of your thoughts. Rabbi, always good to see you.
And happy holidays to everybody.
Absolutely.
Happy Ramadan, happy Easter, happy Passover, and there's Hindu holidays
that passed as well.
Happy holidays to everybody. Hopefully we'll have better days. Thank you.
I love that you ended with that note. Thank you for joining us here today. It's been a tough week for the EV market. Switching gears, Ford is delaying the rollout of several electric vehicles, shifting its focus to hybrids. The reason? People just aren't buying them as quickly as they had thought. We're debating if the future really is all electric and what it'll take to get you to buy in. Back now, let it rip, debating the slumping electric vehicle sales and what, if anything, it'll take for Americans to buy in. I'm joined now by Abby Mitch, the executive director for Michigan Rising Action, with a conservative perspective on this one, and a man you know well here on Let It Rip and across Metro Detroit, Autoline's John McElroy. John, always good to see you. Thank you. And Fox 2 anchor and attorney Charlie Langton back with us as well. Let's get right to it and let's let it rip. John McElroy, the last time I talked to you about EVs, the picture that you had painted was a bit brighter than we're actually seeing play out. Did the big three and all the autos get it wrong when it comes to EVs?
They did, to a degree. They got out ahead of their skis. They overinvested. They thought things were going to grow faster than they did. But, you know, you said the slumping EV sales, they're not slumping at all. The rate of growth isn't as great as it was.
The rate of growth is slumping. That's what I meant to say.
Well, okay, but you know, EV sales this year, if I'm to believe what all the forecasters are saying, will probably grow over 50%. I mean, it's the fastest growing segment in the market by far.
But growing from what, though, John?
Zero.
But growing from the impetus, right? It's the beginning, and so the growth that we see could be big, but should it be bigger, and what do we need to do to get it bigger? That's what we're here to talk about tonight, and I want to get back
to it. It's pretty significant. Over 1.1 million EVs were sold in the United States last year.
And how many of them were bought by regular families? How many of them were fleet purchases? I think that's an important
There's
question.
fleet in there for sure, but I mean, you know, most of them by far are retail sales. They're not fleet sales. This year, the prognostication is anywhere from 1.6
to see the average income of someone who buys an EV.
1.6 to 1.7 million this year. So the rate of growth is
What's the average cost of one EV car?
Well,
$76,000.
Okay, so
it's a lot lower than that right now.
So if it's lower than that right now,
but it's still too high.
But it's too high. So let's talk about this. The Mustang Mach-E, they had one price slash, I think, by $8,000. They brought down the price one more time just now in the hopes of making this work. Abby, is the price point the only issue here, or are there myriad other issues like where do I charge and how the range anxiety and all those other issues?
Sure. I mean, I will never dare go toe-to-toe with John on the ins and outs of an electric vehicle itself or the industry. But I will tell you, I'm a mom with 2 kids under 2, and the last thing I want to be doing right now is learning where to gas my car. The number
you mean plug it in.
Or plug it in, sure, even worse. The number of times I'm sitting there watching the thing go down to E, and I'm like, how many miles can I squeeze out of this? I do not want to be stuck dozens, if not hundreds of miles from a charging station, much less one that might take hours with my kids in the car.
All right, so Charlie, a lot of people will say, look, when there were horse and buggies and people said we're going to come up, Henry Ford and the rest of the world said we're going to make this mass production, this great car, and people kind of shook their heads and said, what, are you kidding me? Are we just too old-fashioned to accept the fact that something new is on the horizon and we don't want to get on board?
Yeah, I think so. We're at a gas station right now. Listen, in Detroit maybe is a bad example. We like muscle cars. We like to hear the engine. We like to drive. And I think in Detroit, it's a difficult sell for EVs. They're expensive. There are no charging stations. They're very minimal. There's only a couple here in Fox 2. If you got to get here early to get your car in there.
Yeah.
If you get there late, you've got to wait.
That's right.
And I think that's a problem. People don't want to do that. So for those reasons, I think it's difficult. Hybrids, maybe. There's got to be an entry-level break into the business.
Maybe it would not be the word. When I use the word slumping, and John corrected me, perhaps the word is huge spike when it comes to hybrids. That's an accurate depiction. Hybrids are having a moment, and they're doing quite well. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, they really are. Look, I mean, people want to get good fuel economy. Or better still, if they go electric, never go to a gas station again in their lives. But people look at the kind of fuel efficiency that a hybrid delivers, and they go, that's for me. I want in.
I loved my the fuel efficiency of my hybrid. I had a hybrid before I got married. I got one bumper scratch, $2,600 just to have the bumper taken off to paint it. And you want to know why? Because of all of the engineering inside of the vehicle, and it turned me off. I just don't think the infrastructure isn't there. We talk about charging stations a lot, like Charlie mentioned, but the issue is we don't have the mechanics, we don't have the availability of places to get these things repaired, we don't have the battery backstock in order to replace them.
What about the battery? So this is the issue that some people say, and look, we're laymen. We don't know everything when you go to buy a car and you try to learn. So John, the batteries, people say, wait a minute, you're still drawing energy. If I go plug in right here at Fox 2, my electric car, I'm drawing energy from an electrical grid that has to burn coal and other things in order to get me that energy. Isn't that also bad?
Well, the coal's going away by and large.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
We produce more electricity with renewables in the United States right now than we do with coal. And you look, I'm not going to say that electric cars are totally clean. They're not. They produce greenhouse gas emissions. They have a carbon footprint, but it is a fraction of what an internal combustion engine vehicle has.
What about the batteries, the lithium-ion batteries? They have cobalt in them. Many people say, wait a minute, this is bad on so many levels. It's pollutants, it's bad for water, it's bad for everything. The batteries themselves, do we have a ways to go?
We're making progress all the time, but, you know, look, there's different chemistries of batteries. You mentioned cobalt. The hottest thing right now, in fact, Ford's got them in some of its vehicles, is what they call lithium phosphate iron. Doesn't have any cobalt in it whatsoever, zero. Also, because there's no oxygen in them, they can't catch fire. Also, they're 30% cheaper. This is the hottest thing going on in electric vehicles right now.
That's the issue. I think we're in a DoorDash. We want our stuff now. And if my charge is going down, I am in the middle of nowhere. I can't get to a charging station. I think that's the fear that a lot of people have to invest a lot of money in a car that may be fuel efficient. But I think people want convenience, and they're not getting it now, which is what on the market.
Let's talk about what just happened today here in Southfield. During the 6 o'clock newscast, out of nowhere, we took a power hit here at the station, and much of Southfield is without power at this hour as we tape this show. This grid, man, it's a little delicate.
Guess what, though, Rube?
Are you concerned
no,
that if we're not able to handle those who are using the electricity in their homes and their cars now, how do we then put 500,000 charging stations out there and then say, all right, everyone charged? What about the grid?
Well, sure. I mean, that's definitely an issue. And I've seen that at CES, they've suggested that if only the automakers and the utilities could get together and agree to improve the grid, we could all, like, sing around a campfire, kumbaya. The problem is that your automakers are beholden to the utilities no matter what type of car they make. They're in a weak negotiating position. And
versus the oil companies right now.
Well, they're never going to get together and say, hey, how are we going to improve this grid together? That's not going to happen. And second, the utilities are under the exact same political, environmental, renewable pressures as the auto industry is with these mandates. And they are still, the utilities are still tampering with how to get reliable electricity, clearly, from point A to point B, especially with these unpredictable renewables on the line.
So what if the prices? What if the prices of these EVs drop by 30 or 40%? Would it change the equation for everybody, John?
Unquestionably. Look, a lot of people are holding back right now going, ooh, the EVs that are out there right now are too expensive for me. So when the price is right, I'm going in. You mentioned Ford cutting the price of the Mach-E. As soon as they did, sales took off. So yeah, people are sensitive, and if you drop the price, they're going to buy a whole lot more. 1.1 million last year, 1.7 million this year. It's going to go well over 2 million next year.
1.7 million vehicles to be parked just outside the city limits to be dumped like they are in China.
No, you're talking about ride-sharing cars that were built under a scam of people that were gaming the system there. China is the world leader right now.
So what do you do with the cars when they're no longer
You recycle them. I mean,
so what about the batteries? I know that there are plans that are saying, look, if you take an old car battery, you can actually make it part of the grid again by renewing it. Is that technology that we're working on? Is it working?
Oh yeah, no, there's plenty of pilot projects, and going back to the grid a minute, forget electric cars. The grid's got to be upgraded. The grid has got to be hardened, cyber hardened. Look at all the storms. Look at how much electricity goes down here right now. Just because it's not a very good.
Abby, are we ready?
It's got to get upgraded. Forget electric cars. It's got to get upgraded.
But if the upgrades aren't happening for regular electricity, are we ready for a fleet of electric cars going across Metro Detroit?
I'll tell you, if the threat of a national security event like a terrorist attack is not hardening our grid, I guarantee you the interest of selling a few 100,000 more electric vehicles is not going to do it.
Doesn't the government mandate that we have to have electric cars in, what is it, 8 years or so? 2/3 of the buying public?
General Motors said by 2035 they want to go all electric. Volvo is a little more aggressive. 2030,
I would
right?
argue that mandate is the enemy of the kind of innovation John is talking about, the evolving battery types, because all of these automakers are going to have to settle on something to sell every Tom, Dick, and Harry when the mandate comes down.
Look at Tesla, look at BYD, the Chinese company, look at BMW, look at Volvo. They're all making a profit on their electric cars. And in fact, with Tesla and BYD, they're extremely profitable. So once you turn the corner, and you got to go through production hell to get there, once you turn the corner, man, can you make money on these things. If
you have money, what about the people in parts of Metro Detroit and the city itself that say, man, I'm just trying to put food on the table. You want me to go get an electric car and figure out a way to charge it? That ain't going to cost me more on my electric bill.
No. Yes, your electric bill absolutely will go up. You're never going to go to a gas station again. Electricity is far cheaper than gasoline.
Okay, but the type of person that Roop is talking about is living in a 100-year-old house that doesn't have the kind of electrical infrastructure to begin with to put the 220 volt in that they probably can't afford to install. In order to charge the vehicle, they probably still won't be able to afford.
It costs $1,000 at least.
To get that all installed.
Look, a good level 2 charger right now is $500.
But to
DTE or Consumers Power will pay you to put that in.
Well, John and Abby, we're going to come back on the other side of the break with more of your final thoughts. And Charlie's taking Let It Rip on the road.
Electric vehicles.
Garbage. Most definitely the best.
Why not?
I grew up with hot rods.
The thing of the future, aren't they? Clean energy, all that stuff?
I mean, I want to be able to go. When I need to go, I want to be able to go.
We like them.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Do you have one?
Negative.
Do you want one?
Most definitely.
It's only going to last a minute. They don't run in the cold. The batteries are going to die. Battery costs half much as a car.
If it's raining and some of that water get on some of that electrical stuff and the car just shut down, I don't believe in that.
I think it saves you money because you're not spending a lot of money at the gas station.
I can't even keep my battery on my phone charged to remember to plug it in at night, let alone my car.
If someone came up to you and said, there you go, there's your brand new electric car, would you take it?
Yeah, right now, because I ain't got no car.
I hear you. Final thoughts, John McElroy.
Look, electric is the future. It's going to keep growing every single year, and in time, everyone will be there.
Abby?
Well, here's the thing. What you see with a lot of those people is fear. The government mandate has pushed this technology too much, too fast, down too many people's throats.
Thank you, Abby. Charlie?
Well, I think they got to be a hybrid. There's got to be an interim so people can get used to the electric car before they'll go full electric.
I want to thank our panel for joining us today. Great conversation. Thanks to you two and Charlie as well. My take tonight, drive what you want. If you like gas-powered cars, the way they drive, look, sound, smell, it's your car, your money. You don't need to tell us that. We don't need to tell you that. If you like electric cars, sure, they're greener. They emit fewer pollutants and greenhouse gases and combustion engines. But the biggest obstacle on the road, charging stations. The Feds say they're coming, 500,000 of them. But have we thought about the next roadblock that could be coming? Juicing up 500,000 new chargers across America, all while more Americans plug in at home and at work. That takes a lot of electricity. If we're struggling with an aging grid now, oh, just wait. But that's what many people are doing when it comes to EVs, waiting. And for good reason. Maybe we should be asking our lawmakers what they're doing to invest in our grid. Maybe then more will catch the buzz of EVs. Just thinking. That does it for this edition of Let It Rip.
The Let It Rip discussion continues online. Sound off on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, or fox2detroit.com.